This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping the ball, it's gone. A towering drive into center field by Rooker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All rise. Here comes the judge. Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live, the final one of the week. We do not do A's Cast Live on the weekends. We just do it Monday through Friday. It's the same thing as the regular season. But the final one of week one of spring training, as the Athletics will be thrown to the game in 2 hours, as the A's are taking on the Big Red Machine today.
That is correct. Hunter Green, the flamethrower, versus Jeffrey Springs, making his second start for the Athletics.
I have a couple things I want you to remind me of that I need to get to today. One is, it definitely is on the Cincinnati Reds, and it is a unbelievable note on the Reds that you will not believe. We could call this segment, "There's no way that happened." I'm going to read you something. You're going to go, "No way did that happen. No way." Also, a little bit later today at 11 o'clock, a salute to Sacramento. I'm going to put it out there now so people can get ready. But I have a salute to Sacramento at 11 o'clock, and I'm going to do it, and by comparing Sacramento to another city that has a Major League Baseball team. So a salute to Sacramento coming up at 11 a.m.
There's a movie coming out about Sacramento also that I saw.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's called Sacramento, actually. Michael Cera, Kristen Stewart. I saw it was all over Twitter yesterday. Some of the Dave Deuce Mason, who covers the Kings up in Sacramento.
Deuce?
Was
I
tweeting
haven't
about
seen
it.
Deuce in years.
He was tweeting about it. So it's a movie about two guys taking a trip to reconnect, and they go to Sacramento. So it looks interesting for sure.
I've known Deuce since he was in high school. Way back when. He's all grown up now. He's doing a great job.
I think Deuce and I are around the same age. I think I'm speculating. I'm 36, so I'm thinking he's in his mid-30s.
All right, we got a great show for you today. Dallas Braden is going to join us. An interview we did with Dallas, of course. Mr. Perfect Game does color for us on NBC Sports California. He is going to join us a little bit later today. Jay, I actually want to play him early today because at 11 o'clock, I know you have. I'm doing a salute to Sacramento at 11 o'clock.
These are all tentative times.
So we're gonna we'll hit up Dallas in just a little bit. JT Ginn is going to join us. Brady Basso will also join us. They've pitched in yesterday's ball game. And then we'll have Brent Rooker. Great to see Rooker, who had 2 hits yesterday. Good to see Rook start to get it going. Big news today for the Athletics. Zach Geloff will be at second base for the first time. It'll be the second time we're seeing Springs on the mound. What else am I missing?
Although the team's now 4-1 in spring training, I know we put a lot of stock into spring training records.
No, we do not.
Luis Severino, 2 innings pitched yesterday, allowed 1 home run, 1 strikeout.
Before you do that, don't be jumping the gun, because we have a new thing we're going to be doing called Johnny's Notebook. Every day, because we don't get to see the games. Every day, Johnny, the great Johnny Dosco, is going to give us his notes on the key things that happened in the game, called Johnny's Notebook. So I see there you have written some things down, but we're not going to steal Johnny's thunder yet.
Well, whatever to make Johnny. I'm just here to help the ball club.
You're here to help the ball go. So we will get into the notes from yesterday's game But so we got Dallas Braden coming up. I'm saying we'll do that around, how long is Braden?
7 minutes.
I think we'll do that about 10:15. Then we'll get to JT Ginn, Brady Basso, and Brent Rooker. Basso was very impressive yesterday, according to Johnny and Johnny's notebook. The breaking ball, that is the big key. You know, when you're a left-handed pitcher and you've got that hook and it is your friend, he's a great curveball for a left-handed pitcher is essentially like when you're a little kid and people have like that security blanket that you take everywhere with you. The little kid that's got to have the blanket, whether sleeps with the blanket, takes the blanket on the road trip, anywhere you go, that blanket goes.
They could use it called like a whoopee or something, right?
For me, it's my 7-iron. Like, I feel like no matter what, when I'm in danger, I know this is the club I can hit. I can hit my 7-iron. I can hit anywhere, anytime. I can be in any situation. I could get up right now, walk outside and hit my 7-iron. I feel great. That's what the curveball is for Brady Basso. It is a weapon. It is a pitch. And I don't know why righties, for the most part, I mean, righties have gone away from the big breaking curveball. You don't see it as much. But for a lefty, I think you go back to A's great Barry Zito. You know, a Hall of Famer we've had on this program a few times, Bert Blyleven. When you have that curveball and you master it, that's just big spinning almost. For lefties, it's not as 12-6. Think of a clock, 12-6, top, bottom of a clock. Talk about that for a right-handed pitcher. For a lefty, because lefties, the release point is a little more 3/4, so you don't get – Barry Zito, though, was not like that. Barry Zito had a 12-6, something you don't see a lot with lefties. But this left-handed curveball where you just feel, I can spin this thing any way I want. I can spin it for a strike. I can throw it harder, make it spin more, and have it dive more for a strikeout pitch that lands in the bottom of the zone or even in the dirt in front of the catcher. I feel I can throw it in any count. I mean, what a weapon that is, to have a pitch that I know that's not straight and I can throw it at any time I want. Doesn't matter. I can throw it 3-1. Whoa. See, I've had my phone on today because yours truly is getting some business done today. I wanted to have some breaking news about a potential new sponsor. Looks like we will be closing a sponsor. It's a very special sponsor, and I can't give you full details. But
as they say in the biz, it's progressing towards a deal.
Yeah, I think it's going to be done today. I wish we could announce it today. You might hear their commercials over the weekend. But I'm closing in on a deal that will be big for us on A's Cast and for somebody who's very important to us in our A's Cast family. And that's why my phone has been on, because I had to make sure I got the call. But I apologize for that.
You're talking about Brady Basso's curveball. When I think of a good left-handed curveball more recently, Clayton Kershaw had when Kershaw was at his peak.
Yes.
Very good curveball. I know he's not the same anymore, but.
No, so it's just an absolute weapon. So that is a great story there to get back on track here. Hernay's great approach in the 8th inning on bases clearing triple the other way. It is spring training is different for different people. Like some guys, spring training is, I'm going to show up. I just got to get ready for the season. Life is good. We're in the Valley of the Sun, or you're in the Grapefruit League, and you're just getting ready for the season. And then spring training for other guys is every at-bat, every inning, every moment I'm there matters. It does. For guys who are trying to make the club, Brent Rooker is a great example. 3 years ago in spring training, every at-bat, every moment he was in the field, he was being judged versus essentially Christian Pache. And it came down to, at the very end, they had to make a decision, the front office, David Forrest and crew. I've got Brent Rooker, I've got Christian Pache. Christian Pache was really the big name at that time of the Matt Olson trade that the A's got back from the Atlanta Braves. Okay. So you want to give him every opportunity. But he's out of options. So if you send him back to the minor leagues, someone can grab him, and you know somebody's going to immediately grab him. He's gone. And now you're going to have to answer the questions like, well, you traded Matt Olson, and this guy was supposed to be hell on wheels, and now he's gone. Then you have Brent Rooker. Well, Brent Rooker has never done anything. He's been with a couple organizations. You've loved him. And we have found this out over the past few years, how people in our organization will love a player, whether you saw him in college, whether you saw him in high school, you weren't able to draft him, but you just follow his career because you really, really like that guy. Cole Irvin was that way. They liked him out of Oregon. So they followed him, and then when they had the opportunity to buy him for cash from the Phillies, they did it. Well, Brent Rooker was one of those guys. They've liked Brent Rooker since he played in the SEC, and he dominated. Mississippi State. They love him. So, okay, here we are going through spring training. You got Christian Pache, who is the, at that time, it's now been Shea Langoliers, and look out, Joey Estes. But at that time, a few years ago, Christian Pache was the name. Hey, is this guy going to be the center fielder of the future? You got him for Matt Olson. Or this guy that, if you pick Rooker, which the benefit at the time is there's not a whole lot of media that would be there to criticize essentially losing Christian Pache, like in other markets that you would have lost Pache, part of the Olson trade. There'd be people going flipping out. Our front office hasn't had to deal with that, so it makes it a lot easier. But in the end, Rooker hit in spring training. He did what you believe he could do. He hit the ball really hard. Talked about hitting the ball hard yesterday. And the team at the very last minute, David Forrest said it was the very last minute, Bay Bridge series, A's play the Giants. They had to make a roster decision. This was the last roster decision. And they chose Brent Rooker. And the rest is history. And what a great move it was. Pache would go on to the Phillies and, hasn't done anything.
I think he was an Oriole and Marlin.
And then Brent Rooker is now an offensive force. So it was a gamble. The gamble paid off. But it just goes to show every one of those at-bats, every single time Brent Rooker played the field, every single time that spring training he was doing something, he was being judged. Which is far different from, I don't know, like Mookie Betts in camp right now. Nobody, you name the best players in the game. They go to spring training to get ready for the season. No one is like, oh my God, what's happening with this guy? To where a guy like Pache and a guy like Rooker, everything they did was judged. Everybody was looking at. So that's where Hernandez is. Hernandez is, he's got tons of talent. Love the kid. And it's time for him just to let the swag go and just play. And he's another one of these players that, you play yourself. You make the front office have a tough decision. You play well, they got a tough decision. Last year he started to play well and then hurt his ankle, and that was pretty much his year last year. So good to see Darell Hernandez. What else do you got from yesterday's action?
JT Ginn, who you'll hear from later today, he went 2 innings, allowed 1 run, walked 2, struck out 1. So he went 2 innings. So it was nice to see. I had Hernandez on there, the 3-run triple to give the A's the lead the 8th. You mentioned Basso already. Ferguson, is scoreless inning for the bullpen. I guess the only shaky thing was.
So this will be Johnny's notebook versus
me reading.
Cody reading the box score and didn't see any of this. The number one thing, and I can't bury this, Road Trip Mike's first pitch needs work.
I heard them talking about that on the broadcast yesterday.
Wow. We had one of our beloved listeners, the great Road Trip Mike, who they're doing a documentary because he went on every road trip last year, made all 81 games. It was a great story. His passion and his love for this organization is something very, very special. All the players love him. The coaching staff loves him. The front office, Road Trip's hanging around where we hang out. Next thing you know, he's buddies with David Forrest. He's always talking with Mark Kotze. He's a part of the family, and he's definitely a big part of the A's Cast family and what we do on our post-game show. I think I gave him the nickname Road Trip, in case you forgot, and has had some of those legendary calls into my show where he's called from a boat in Chesapeake Bay. I mean, he travels around. I mean, he's retired. He's got this unbelievable life. All the teams where he goes, they take care of him. All the teams know. And he got to throw out the first pitch. And we had him on yesterday before the first pitch. And his excuse is that they did this nice thing for him. The PA announcer read some nice things about him and started talking about his family and talking about he's a part of the A's family. He got choked up, had tears, and that affected his first pitch. And no, he did not make it to the glove. It's kind of depressing. It kind of let us down a little bit here on A's Cast. Took a little bit of our credibility away, but according to Johnny, Road Trip Mike's first pitch needs a little work.
Michael Jordan played an NBA Finals game with the flu. I think Road Trip Mike can throw out a first pitch.
You would think. I mean, a guy that travels all around, sees all these games, big league, minor league. I mean, you'd think.
I know I'm comparing two superior athletes here between Road Trip Mike and Michael Jordan, but apples to apples here. I mean, you got to perform when the lights are brightest, and he didn't live up to it. Apparently, we weren't there, so we don't know.
All right, so we got a lot to get into today. We have to get into the Dodgers deferred money is crazy.
It's not that much. We went over this yesterday.
Garrett Crochet, I want to get into his. Are we going to have innings limits again? That was with the White Sox. Now he's with the Red Sox. It's supposed to be go time. But does he have a right? Does a player have a right to tell you how he should be used? See, old school mentality is you work for me. I tell you how I'm going to use you. Well, in modern day sports, it doesn't work that way. But does he have the right to do that? And I got Mark Kotze. I'm working with my manager right now. Does he have the right to do that? And once again, coming up here at the top of the hour at 11 o'clock, a salute to Sacramento. I'm going to salute Sacramento, the capital city. And, of course, a lot of you are listening on Talk 650 KSTE. We welcome you as you're now experiencing for the first week A's Cast Live. I'm going to salute all of you, just not Sacramento, but in all the surrounding areas. I'm going to salute you at 11 o'clock, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to compare it with another city in another area that has a Major League Baseball team. I was shocked by this. But we got the A's and we got the Reds coming up here for you at noon. We want to play for you now. You got Dallas ready to rock?
Yep.
All right, Dallas Braden obviously means so much to everybody in this franchise. I mean, I've known Dallas since I covered him. And the thing that you love about Dallas Braden is that Dallas Braden is a fighter. He's been a guy that's had to fight for everything that he has. Everything that Dallas Braden has in his life, nothing was given to him. Nothing was easy. He ends up going to community college, then ends up at Texas Tech. He's not a top pick. He's got to earn his way through the minor leagues, and then he comes to the Athletics. I mean, barring injury, who knows what his career would have been, but, he was gritty. I always bring out, and I'll bring up in this interview, he's got more complete games than your guy, Jacob deGrom. He's more of a workhorse than your guy, Jacob deGrom. And you're trying to put him in the Hall of Fame. But that's what I've always respected, and we didn't know after baseball what Dallas Braden was going to do. I think there still may be a time when, because Dallas has young kids now, but there may be a time where Dallas gets into coaching at some point. But we're very lucky to have him on as our color analyst on NBC Sports California. We're always lucky to have him here on A's Cast Live. We always talk about the perfect game on Mother's Day, which was I mean, I'll never forget it. It was just something that it was crazy. And after that, just he and his grandmother going on all the morning talk shows on television and the stardom that really kind of came out of that. I remember it was one of the wildest post-game shows that I've ever done, where people, because of the moment and because Dallas had lost his mother and he was there with his grandmother and it's Mother's Day and people were crying. It was a very emotional day. We will never forget that. But one thing that you always need to highlight about Dallas Braden, that he has earned everything that he has gotten. He's earned it. Nobody gave him anything. Wasn't easy growing up in Stockton. It's an unbelievable story. It really, really is. And it's always great to have him on A's Cast Live. Here's the interview we did with him down in Mesa. We got to have him on. The great Dallas Braden join us once again here on A's Cast. How are you? It's the start of another year and another journey.
Here we are, man. Here we are. It's great to be back in the desert as always. This time of the year, the juices are going. The juices have been going, but I think there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of intrigue for a lot of different reasons surrounding the season this year. So I couldn't be more excited to just be out here and get going.
It is truly amazing to watch how this whole thing, getting away from the actual team, but just like us, how this thing has evolved to where I used to interview you as a player. I don't even remember which radio stations we were on at the time, right? We used to do it down in the dugout. To where that was, to where we all are now, if we really followed that journey, it's pretty amazing.
Well, where we're at right now, we're on A's Cast Live. That's where we're at right now. So you think about the platform that not only has been created, but a platform that you and Cody have helped continue to prop up and build and expand. And having the opportunity, the availability, the resources to do so, to continue to bring the game in a different way to the fans and the folks who are supporting what's going on, I think that's really important. So to think back, Towny, that this all started where I was the one wearing a costume out there and you were the one asking questions, and now here you and I are.
Are you going to make the team?
Right. Do you throw a fastball? Is what we've seen everything
Love
you're
the
featuring?
changeup. Yeah.
And now here we are, man, breaking it down, X's and O's, talking to guys about it, and I think giving the folks at home an opportunity to really fall in love with these players. And so for us to have another chance at this, another crack at this, especially with the excitement surrounding this year, I think is something to get excited about.
I think it's really cool that the fan base has been able to watch you grow as a man, as a young kid from the Valley, making the team that he always loved, to all of a sudden, obviously we know what you did in your career. I always like to bring up, as much as everybody brings up the perfect game, I bring up, who's got more career complete games, you or Jacob deGrom?
I like that about you, Towny.
Okay, there's certain things I like to bring up about you. But it's like then all of a sudden, you become a parent, right? And to watch you grow up as a broadcaster, this fan base has watched you grow as a person, and it's pretty special.
Well, they know, and I hope they do know, and if you don't know, you need to know just how big of a role that they have played in my life, and for everything that you just outlined, watching me grow up and trying to figure out who I was as a player, and then from there figuring out who I am as a man, as a member of society, growing into becoming a husband, becoming a father, and trying to figure that out, all while trying to figure out who I am in the world of baseball now that I was no longer playing. And so for the fans to continue to show the love and support the way that they have, that has meant the world to me and my family. My family is getting ready to come out here for spring training in a few days, and it's simply because they want to be back around the game. They want to be back around the fans. They enjoy the vibe. They enjoy the energy that's brought to the ballpark. And for those folks to still, frankly, give a damn about what we've got going on matters a whole lot to me.
You know what it's like to be in that clubhouse as a team that lost a lot of games, and then now you're looking to turn it around. So talk about how you feel about this club and the difference that you've seen. Sometimes you got to wear it before you're ready to win.
There's no question. There's no question. That's all part of trying to figure things out, right? Is you got to go into the dressing room, try it on, give yourself a spin in the mirror. Do you like what you see? If not, where do the adjustments need to be made? Sometimes you got to look within, Towny.
You need a tailor?
Sometimes it ain't about the fabric, my friend. Sometimes it's about the mannequin. So I think that's been a real blessing, is to be able to watch what these guys have gone through and what they've experienced, knowing that I have experienced the same exact thing, but the growth, right? And you could pinpoint players. Lawrence Butler and Brent Rooker, I think, are going to be at the top of the list when you identify guys that really made huge strides. And I think for different reasons, but there's a ton of different guys all up and down the roster who I think you're just really excited about the growth that they're going to experience, because we watched a team go plus 19 from the year before, right? You turn that over and the way that they did it, in the fashion that they did it, especially finishing strong down the stretch, those are all indicators of a positive season on the horizon.
We're not going back to like when you were coming up and you want to take the ball and you want to go 9 innings. We're not going back that. We're not going back to that anytime soon. We're about volume, throwing as many different looks as people as possible. So that means you got to have a lot of people. There's more people now that we can trust. I mean, talk about from the pitching standpoint, your confidence in this pitching going into this year.
Well, I mean, look, you bring in the lefty Springs, you bring in Severino, like you have instant veteran credibility that you inject into that rotation. But then you have to think about the folks that were in this rotation prior to those arrivals. And it's a guy like JP Sears, who's done nothing but take the ball every fifth day ever since he got here. We've seen growth from guys like JT Ginn. We saw guys like Brady Basso show up. B. Doe, I think, has really planted his flag. So there is a ton of options. There's still a ton of opportunity. But when you talk about the group, I think the overall tide in the port has just been raised.
No doubt. And let's end on this. I mean, obviously, being a kid who grew up in the Valley, Sacramento is going to be really interesting, right? We know, for a lot of people, they don't understand. So many people, like from our age group, especially my age group, left the Bay Area, moved to Sacramento because it was a place they felt they could raise their families and everything. We have a tremendous amount of fans in the Valley, and especially in Sacramento.
It's incredible, Towny. And for us, for the folks who have lived and breathed what was Oakland A's baseball, and understanding that all of the surrounding neighborhoods and the surrounding communities that supported that now just sort of shifts to the north, if you will. And there's folks who were not going to be driving 2 hours to a ball game who have had that cut in half. And there's folks who are embracing and excited about the idea of big league baseball being dropped in their backyard and in their lap. And I think when you consider the way that these folks love the game, the excitement at the ballpark is absolutely a part of the intrigue that I think is surrounding this club right now.
And I have been told that we're going to get a lot more Dallas Braden on A's Cast this year. I've been told that.
Fact.
It's been hard to get him over the year. I'm hearing
Fact.
We're going to get you on a regular basis.
Fact.
That is fact. A regular basis.
Fact.
Okay. All right.
You might be waiting to get rid of me, Towny. We'll check back in June.
Well, let me tell you something. To this fan base, you're an all-time great in this organization, and your transition from player to broadcaster has been amazing. It's been great to watch your growth.
Towny, thank you, brother.
Another year, my friend.
You've been a big part of it. I appreciate you, sir.
The great Dallas Braden right here on A's Cast. He's money in the bank. JT Ginn will join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. A's starting pitcher Luis Severino joined Towny on A's Cast Live in Mesa and discussed his role as a veteran leader in the clubhouse.
For me, just learning from the guys that like when I was younger, Cesar Sabatia, Ivan Nova, Michael Pineda, I played with Aero. So those guys teach me how it was, how it is to be in the big leagues. So I would try to do the same thing with those guys, if they need me. When my first year, I was trying to impress everybody, So right now, it's just, trying to get ready for the season. So if I need to talk to those guys and let them know, you don't have to be 100% every time. You don't have to go 100% every time, When we need you to go 100% up there and pitch, that's the day you want to compete. So don't go out there and go crazy and try to get hurt and taking ground balls or trying to catch a fly ball that you don't need to. So just to, let them know what I learned while I was younger.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast. A's All-Star Mason Miller joined Towny on A's Cast Live to talk about the responsibility getting the final 3 outs in a game.
Exciting. It's the time of game. Everything that's went into it is building to that point. And usually when I'm in there, it's an opportunity for us to win.
Yeah.
So just pitching with that energy, pitching with that mentality that I just got to get 3 outs. It doesn't have to be pretty. I want it to be pretty, but it doesn't have to be. It's just like just get 3 outs, hold the lead, get the guys in the locker room, celebrate a win. So I love it, and I feel like I just embrace it and take the role for what it is.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
A's and Reds coming up here at noon on A's Cast. And also talk 650 KSTE in Sacramento. So throughout, I got these great notes on the Cincinnati Reds. The past couple of years, the A's, you play these teams in spring training and you build them up and everything. We've built up these teams in the National League Central. Like, oh, boy, this is the year. Last year it was, this is going to be a really good year for the Reds. This is going to be a really good year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates train in Florida in the Grapefruit League. How'd that work out? The Reds end up being 77 and 85. 77 and 85. Lowest batting average, because everybody tries to tell me batting average doesn't matter. All right. Lowest batting average in 2024. You want to take a shot at who had the lowest batting average in 2024?
Not the Mariners.
Not the Mariners.
Cincinnati.
Not Cincinnati.
Lowest bat. The Pirates.
Think bad. Who is really bad?
Oh, that's easy. The White Sox.
The White Sox.
Who we play Monday.
They hit 221 as a team. Next up, we talked about how feeble the Mariners were last year offensively. They hit 224. Third lowest, our friends to the south. They play in Tempe when it comes to spring training. That would be your Halos. The California / Los Angeles / Anaheim / Disney. Do we even know what they're calling themselves this year?
I think they're just still the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
To you, I think they're just the Los Angeles Angels.
They don't say Anaheim anymore?
I haven't said. I will never. I don't remember what year this is. Swear to God. So I'm at the Coliseum. I'm like minutes away. I mean, minutes away from starting the pregame show. And an Angels PR guy comes in with this release about do not say Anaheim anymore. It's only Los Angeles. And I remember he handed it to me, and I was like, are you kidding me? I call you guys Disney anyway. I didn't want to. You're debacle. You're not Los Angeles. You're Anaheim. You're Orange County, for God's sakes. But anyway, the Angels third lowest. Fourth lowest would be the Rays at 230. And then you come the Cincinnati Reds, who hit 231. Those 5 teams, the lowest 5 batting averages last year, White Sox, Mariners, Angels, Rays, and Reds. What do they all have in common?
They were all under 500?
They all were not in the playoffs. They all were not in the playoffs, and it was all a struggle. I'm going to save this for the top. Just remind me. I have a note on the Reds.
I have it here. That, and I have to ask you about Tampa.
That you're gonna be like, that can't be true. I saw this and I'm like, this really? a Major League Baseball team, this can't be true.
Well, my question was, it has something to do with our good friend Tito, right? And you said no. So
No. Tito Francona, 65 years old, who stepped down as Guardians manager in 2023, returns to the dugout after having won 3 Manager of the Year awards and 2 World Series titles with the Red Sox. He also is the all-time Guardians winningest manager, 912 wins to 757 losses. He was tired. We're worried about his health. And all of a sudden he leaves, and then he's like, being at home every day, I think I want to go back. Yes. These guys are lifers. Terry Francona has been great to us over the years coming on A's Cast Live. He talks about his 1 year as a bench coach with the Athletics, vaulted his career to where it is today because the Red Sox at that time, remember we all read and watched the movie. Some of us lived it. Remember when the Red Sox tried to lure Billy Beane to Boston? And when they were looking for a new manager, they knew they wanted a guy who knew about analytics. And because Terry Francona had been the bench coach for the A's, they knew, we should go get this guy because he's versed in the world of analytics. And that's how he got his gig with the Red Sox, and the rest is history. And someday could be going into the Baseball Hall of Fame. But he credits his 1 year being the bench coach here as vaulting him and kind of reviving his career and giving him that opportunity to manage again. Yes, I will have a salute to Sacramento coming up here at the top of the hour. JT Ginn, another Mississippi State guy.
He's had a lot of those over the years. Kendall Graveman.
He's and speaking of Kendall Graveman, I think he reminds me of Kendall Graveman. Now, Kendall Graveman is a taller guy. I think Ken Korak said to me, Kendall Graveman throws harder. Well, yet now.
I say now he does.
Now, but not when Kendall Graveman was playing for the A's.
Starting opening day back-to-back years, right?
If you go back and you check velocity, Kendall Graveman was not throwing 97 miles an hour when he first came to the A's. Kendall Graveman was a 92, 93. He was sinking everything, right? That's who he was. And I used to say all the time, the thing that gets me about Kendall Graveman is, first of all, wonderful guy. But when you have the best hitters in the world and you're essentially living in only 2 areas, you're down and in or down and away to righties. So you'd be down and in to lefties and down and away to lefties. So you're basically throwing a 2-seam fastball and basically a slider. And both are down in the zone and it's going to be on one side of the plate. Well, these guys, these hitters, what do? I can tell you what they do. They watch video. They know it. They see it. So they're going to look in one area. They're going to look for one area, and when you throw it there, it's hammer time. Now, it's all when you're constantly, when stuff's diving down, it can work real well for you. But like what we saw with Kendall Graveman, there are points where guys just sat there and they waited. So if I'm a right-handed hitter and I know if it's breaking away, I don't touch it because I know it's a breaking ball and it's going to be down and away. I never have to fear that he's coming up and in. I never have to fear that he's pitching up in the zone, which at that point people were trending pitching up in the zone. That's how you defeat the launch angle crew. Kendall Graveman kind of played right into him. And so as a starter, as I see a guy 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, I'm just looking dead red as a right-handed hitter. He's going to bring that 2-seamer in, and I'm just going to drop the bat head, and I'm going big fly, or I'm trying to rip it down the line. So essentially, when you live in only 2 different places, I can let one go, and I can hunt the other. That's why it's so important to be able, since now we're so used to that box that we watch on television, you got to pitch all. If you have a fastball that you can work all around that box, that's like having 4 different pitches before you even throw anything that has a wrinkle on it. And JT Ginn right now is a guy that's trying to do that, because JT Ginn is a lot like Kendall Graveman. He's going to sink it and slide it. Everything is down and in or down and away. Whether you're looking at a right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter, everything's down. Well, you've got to be able to elevate. You got to change eye level. You got to give them something, right? You got to be able to bust guys in on their hands. You got to be able to throw it. Guy's a dead pull hitter. You got to be able to live away, and it just can't always be down and away. You have to utilize the strike zone, because you just can't show the hitters the same. These are the best hitters in the world, and if you just show them this, like best quarterbacks in the world, if you just show the best quarterbacks the same defense every time, what are they going to do? They're going to eat it up. Best goal scorers in hockey, if you defend them the same way, they're going to eat you alive. Best golfer, what would happen if the best golfers in the world just played the same hole over and over and over and over again? They'd eat it alive. You got to have variety. You got to change things. You got to change speeds. You got to change locations. You got to be able to work up, work down, work in, work out. So JT Ginn, you can survive being a really good guy, having some velocity and constantly sinking and sliding it. But at some point, when you start playing the best, you've got to move it around. And that's what he's working on now. He pitched the last game at the Coliseum. He's got moxie. JT Ginn is that kind of guy that reminds me of when you were a kid, whether you're playing hoops, whatever, you're going to play football, and, you're drafting your buddies. Remember that when you were a kid? You'd be like, all right, you're a captain, I'm a captain, let's draft our buddies. You're always taking JT Ginn first. He's that kind of guy. He's the kind of guy that no matter what you play, he's good at. And the A's, it took some time because, there's that injury problem with pitchers, but he's now he's overcome that. And now he comes into camp, and it's not about trying to be healthy. Now it's just about getting guys out. There's been, I heard down the grapevine a while ago that the comp for him was Tim Hudson. Now that I've seen him, I don't like it. I think he's more a shorter Kendall Graveman. What we saw, Kendall Graveman now is throwing 97, 98 when healthy, and hopefully he's healthy once again. But when Kendall Graveman started closing games out, the velocity ticked way up. He got bigger. He's taller. But I think style-wise, when we first saw Kendall Graveman, you're right. Why was Kendall Graveman the opening day starter for the Athletics?
Didn't Sonny Gray have like food poisoning or something?
Sonny Gray got sick. And all of a sudden, Kendall Graveman, you get the call. So he was twice an opening day starter for the Athletics. But JT Ginn is going to be one of the, remember, got to have a stable. You'll hear this all the time on this show. The average team is going to use about 13 starting pitchers in a year. If you use way more than that, whoo, Dodgers did, but doesn't work out. Normally doesn't work out for everybody. The less starting pitchers you use, the better shot you got. But you better have a lot, because injuries happens. Life happens. So you better have depth on that 40-man in the starting rotation. JT Ginn will play a part in the 2025 Athletics. Here's our conversation with him down in Arizona. Starting pitcher for the Athletics is with us here on A's Cast Live. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm good. Great to be out playing again and getting to it.
I think you had to really enjoy the last time we saw you. Last time we had you on the show, the way you ended your season. You came up, showed everybody you're healthy. You had to be excited about that.
Yeah, it was great to get that opportunity and get up and pitch well enough to, put the team in position to win some games. And, that was all you could ask for. It was great.
And so many times we do, unfortunately, have to talk about the injury bug. But that was a big thing for you to prove that you could stay healthy. What did that mean to you in your career?
It was huge. It's huge to get out there and get some innings in and feel like myself again. I went through 2 years of, being on the shelf for a little while. So it's good to get out there and have fun. The game's a lot better when you're feeling good.
What is that like when you really do feel like yourself again and you can let it go and not worry about it?
Yeah, that's why you work so hard in the off season and during the season, and so you can, feel the best you can and have the most starts out there where you're feeling 100% healthy. But yeah, obviously it's a lot of fun when everything's feeling good and everything's clicking and you're rolling.
I think the big key is you're coming into camp now, not to prove I can stay healthy and you've come to prove that you can be in the rotation.
Yeah.
What is that mindset like for you coming to Arizona?
I mean, it's great. It's a lot of it is the off season. Like your off seasons before, I'm just spending it, trying to get healthy and make sure my body's in a good place to play. And this year I was able to go into the off season and actually work on some things. And I got up and got to see a part of the game and know what I need to do to get better, and then be able to take that into the off season and work on it, and then bring those things that I've learned into spring.
Yeah, you talk about the mental side of this game. You're talking about off seasons where you just want to be healthy versus now you want to compete.
Yeah.
And that's what's really cool is you got an off season to really just work on who you are and your stuff. So let's talk about that stuff, because we see the sinking and we see the diving.
Yeah.
What were we working on this off season?
I'm just going to add a couple more pitches. I added a cutter, and that was like my big thing going into the off season was like I needed something that I could tack the the left hand side of the plate on, and worked on the cutter and just something to complement the sinker slider and the changeup, which is what I relied on a lot last year. So I think it's going to be good, give me a new weapon against left-handed hitters, and something to dominate that glove side.
So that's really something to get in on left-handers' hands, right?
Yeah. That was the idea behind it. It's just something that's hard and it's coming in on their hands and giving me a chance to open up the rest of the plate.
A lot of people compared you to Tim Hudson, obviously a great pitcher back in the A's days, and I thought about you too with like Kendall Graveman, where everything was down, and at some point you've got to have stuff to compete. We got to be up a little bit. So being down is great. You want to live down, but talk about how you want to move the hitter's eyes up and down a little more.
Absolutely. I feel like I've always done a good job of pitching, to the bottom of the zone, both sides of the plate.
Yeah.
But it's also good to have something, to change the eye level. So that was big. The cutter and the four-seam fastball and having something to move their eyes and keep them off the bottom of the zone is huge.
So when you talk about goals for you heading into the season, have you set any goals? I know it's still early in spring, but have you set any goals?
I mean, kind of take it day by day. I'm more of like I show up to it and I'm just trying to get better every day. I really don't try to look too far ahead, but right now what's in front of me is getting out here and seeing how these new pitches, work against hitters and getting a live environment and getting back on the field.
Now I can tell you, once we get into the college football season, we got a lot of SEC smack talk inside this clubhouse.
Yeah.
It used to be we had a ton of it was Pac-12. Now the Pac-12's gone.
Yeah.
I think this year's going to be a lot of fun with all of you guys. We got a lot of guys who went to different schools.
Yeah.
A lot of competition inside that clubhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and Brent Rooker, we're former Mississippi State Bulldogs, so I'm hoping they turn it around this year and give me a chance to talk a little smack. For sure.
Well, it was a lot of fun. We've heard so much since the trade, so much about you. And I'm just so happy that you're healthy, because that's like the number one thing is when you have the health, you can go play the way you want to play and live out that dream. And you got that opportunity. And let's just end on this. You got that taste, and I bet you had that taste all offseason. You want a lot more of it.
Absolutely. I just want to be in a position, to win some games, and that's all I can ask for.
Great stuff. We'll see you in Sacramento.
I appreciate it,
So it's one of those things where, you get healthy, and then now we really see who you are. JT Ginn, he was drafted multiple times. He was drafted by the Dodgers, 30th overall selection in 2018 draft, said, no, I'm going to go to Mississippi State. And then he was selected by the Mets at 52nd overall. And then, of course, he came over in the Chris Bassett trade with the New York Mets. But a lot of guys get drafted out of high school, go to college, and improve on their draft status. He actually went from 30th overall to 52nd overall, but had a very good career in the Southeastern Conference. He was freshman of the year. Unfortunately, had Tommy John surgery. But yeah, he is. He's healthy and he's ready to rock. So it's like one of those trades. I mean, the Chris Bassett trade seems like a long time ago, right?
You remember who the other guy in that trade was?
Adam Mahler.
Adam Mahler, Mets minor league pitcher of the year that year.
So the Chris Bassett trade, and that's what's funny. I can't remember what interview we did with David Forrest a long time ago, but he talks about how these trades, how they live, right? because these trades lead to other stuff, to other moves. So you just it's like a family tree that you just keep following year after year after year, because not all of them die. Some of them, the moves die out and then nobody's left. Whoever left, you didn't acquire anybody from that. So there's sometimes those branches die, but a lot of the branches just live on forever, right? This guy leads to that guy, leads to this, that leads to that. And so the Chris Bassett trade, and this thing about how Chris Bassett came to the A's, and then you just you just think about all the different ways these family trees or these draft, trade, whatever, how you acquire players, they just live on. And every organization's like this, right? You could do this with like every organization. Like you could trace back to how all the players are acquired throughout all the years. I'm sure some go still are living and go way, way back. Speaking of way, way back, I don't know if we're not going to really have time to get to this today, but maybe I could just throw it out there, plant a seed, water it, and see how it grows. I saw an article yesterday that said unbreakable records in baseball history. We are so protective of our game's record book, like no other. Because to me, what sport really cares about their record books? Because sports have changed so much throughout the years. For instance, football, the amount of games played, how primitive football used to be to where it is now, right? Like to think about, I worked a Raiders Packers game at Lambeau Field. I did the Packers Hall of Fame, which if you're a football nut, I'll tell you, there is nothing like Lambeau Field. Lambeau Field was incredible. Their Hall of Fame is like the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I mean, it is amazing the stuff they have in there. It's Lombardi, Horning, it's a Bart Starr, it's all that stuff. It's awesome. And Lambeau Field is so cool. If you ever get a chance, and go early in the year before it gets freezing cold. But if you ever get a chance, it's in just this little neighborhood. It's like you go back in time. You know how Fenway Park and Wrigley Field. It's so much like that, but it's such a cool experience. But Lombardi's linemen were like 245, the average weight, right? 245. Our linebackers are 245 now. So it's like football, they play way more games than they used to. It's kind of tough. Like basketball I guess the 80s is a long time ago, but at some point the greats, Magic, Bird, those guys, the great Laker teams, the Celtics teams, they flew commercial. You could be on a flight and you're sitting next to Kevin McHale. You could be on a flight and you're sitting next to, name the Laker.
Kurt Rambis.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Can you imagine? Kurt Rambis. That's who you come up with?
Well, I was trying to just pick a non-superstar.
I mean, can you imagine you get on the flight? Hey, James Worthy, how you doing?
Michael Cooper.
Byron Scott. What's up, bro? So the game is these games of the records, the others, but our sport, oh my God, we can't change rules. We can't change rules because that'll mess with the record books. Well, I saw an article last night as I was cruising around thinking about what we were going to talk about, and they had unbreakable records. And I'm thinking to myself, do we even care about any of these records anymore? Because the majority of them are either 1930 or into the 1800s. Almost all of them. Like the only kind of modern day records, is Barry Bonds' home run record, and everybody's going to go steroids on that one. You got Ricky Henderson's stolen base, but Ricky Henderson isn't even the all-time stolen base leader in a single season. He is the modern day because some guy in the 1800s had more, right? Cy Young and these guys, they had so many complete games. Like Nolan Ryan's strikeout record will not be touched because no one's even sniffing it. But no one pitches enough. No one plays enough. And Nolan Ryan is still 2,000 innings behind Cy Young. Think about that. Nolan Ryan played 27 years in the big leagues, and he's still 2,000 innings short of Cy Young. So it's like, do we need to let this go when we talk about changes to the game of baseball? Because the historians, the stewards of the game who wanted to protect, the Negro League, the Negro League Museum, which is phenomenal in Kansas City. Kansas City is a great museum town. You got the Negro League Museum, the Jazz Museum. They're right next to each other, and you can actually pay. I mean, when I was there, I've been there multiple times. I would always go over there when the Raiders played the Chiefs. I'd always go over there. It was like $15 to do both museums. I'll never forget the young lady working there. And she goes, well, you can see both museums, but it's $15. I was like, $15? I can go to the Jazz Museum too? Are you kidding me? You walk in, it's Ella Fitzgerald's gown. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I'm not a huge jazz guy, but I knew enough to appreciate.
You paid more for us to go to the JFK Museum in Dallas.
I made these guys, by the way. Yes. Have we told that story?
I don't even think we mentioned we went to the Grassy Knoll.
Okay, so we're in Dallas.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast.
All right, we're not going to have enough time, are we?
No.
All right, coming up next, I have a salute to Sacramento. By the way, for Kansas City, the World War I Museum, it's one of the top museums in the country, blows your mind. Kansas City, just not barbecue. It's a great museum town. Yes, I took the kids to the Grassy Knoll, and a salute to Sacramento. I think you're going to like this, Sac. Next, right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring. A's outfielder Brent Rooker joined Chris Townsend during spring training to discuss the confidence inside the A's clubhouse.
So it's a very real confidence. It's a very real optimism. It's unique in that it's a confidence that also comes with the knowledge that we haven't proven anything yet, and we know that people on the outside still don't believe in us, but we believe in ourselves and we believe in each other. And we are at a very cool crossroads of being hungry to compete, wanting to compete, and knowing that we can compete while also being confident what the future looks like. So it's a cool feeling inside the clubhouse right now. Guys are working really hard. Guys are communicating well. We're talking. We're trying to help each other get better, and that's a cool place to be.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
Single game tickets are now on sale for the 2025 season. Secure your seats today for opening week against the Chicago Cubs and lots of exciting giveaways, including an A's basketball jersey, a straw hat, and 3 bobbleheads. You'll be nodding yes to our Brent Rooker, Mason Miller, and Lawrence Butler bobbleheads in June and July. More hot ticket homestands as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Yankees, and Mets. Get your tickets at athletics.com/tickets. That's athletics.com/tickets.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today. The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, my salute to Sacramento in just moments. I think it's important for people when you go to cities, and we're very fortunate in our line of work, whether you work in baseball, you work in football, which I have, and I've traveled, or like the people who work for the Sacramento Kings. The NBA is good about this. The NHL is good about this. Baseball, awful. Because you travel in baseball, you literally go to the ballpark so early. It's all day. Like, it's all day, and it's every day, and then all of a sudden you're flying out. You really don't see much. But the other sports, a lot of times you get to see. But I highly recommend. So we're in Dallas at the winter meetings. I go, we got to go to the Grassy Knoll. This is history, where the president of the United States was assassinated. And there's still a lot of questions about it to this day. Obviously, it happened before we were born, but we have to go. So we went, and we were over there. Then the observatory, you're able to go in it, which I didn't realize, and it's a museum. And the kids here, I felt like I was Uncle Towny came out, and I'm like, guys, we got to go to this. But it costs money, and we know with the millennial generation, if it costs money, they're out. So I said, I'll pay for everybody. How many people do we have?
It was you, me, my wife, Melissa Guzman, who stole your rental car, or our rental car, and Ray Jensen, who works with us.
So Uncle Towny paid for everybody, because I wanted to go. So the only way I was going to go is if I dragged you guys with me. Aren't you glad you went in?
Yeah, I was. I mean, I was excited to see the Grassy Knoll because I knew we had to go see it, but then I didn't realize the museum was right there. So when we went in, you walk through and it's like you see all the different stuff. Like they have all the different write-ups on different people, the events.
Yeah, the lead up and what was going on in the country. Then they do the whole conspiracy thing in there also, right? All the different potential people and all the different groups who could have done it. And then they show you can go to where Lee Harvey Oswald was, and you start realizing going, yeah, I can see, but this guy's not a marksman. And, there's all kinds of theories. It's a phenomenal, Dallas is a great city. I love Dallas. Food's good. People are great. But to get over there, you learned a lot when you were in there. And it's like, I can't, for people like us, we weren't born. For people who were, what that meant at that time, like, wow, one of the shocking events in American history. We're going in as people who just, we didn't live it, but, it was amazing to go in. So if you ever have a chance to go, and I think it was only like $25.
Oh, so yeah.
It wasn't expensive. Most of these museums are not expensive. I'm telling you, the World War I Museum in Kansas City, because we always really studied World War II, right? But World War I, the most human beings died in this war, and it was like you learned so much about it. Like at one point, you had some of these countries are still pretty primitive. You got guys fighting with swords versus guys with machine guns. How do you think that worked out, right? It was like you go in there and all the different tanks and stuff. It's a massive museum. It's right next to the Westin, and that famous. You see it when Chiefs games. They always show the famous train station that they have there. It's just right there. Really, when the World War I Museum sits up on the hill and you look right down at that famous train station. Trust me, if you watch the NFL, you've seen that train station a bazillion times. They always show it on TV.
I've only been to Kansas City once. I drove through when I moved here. So I got to see Arrowhead and Coffin from afar because they're right next to each other. But I know what you're talking about. And I wanted to go to that museum just like I've wanted to go to all the museums there. I just haven't got a chance to go visit the Midwest and Kansas City just yet.
But if in Dallas, make sure you go to the observatory. It's definitely worth it. All right, I want to salute Sacramento. And I'm not doing this just to suck up to all of our new fans that are going to be coming to the ballpark and everybody listening to us on 650 KSTE. But I was notified about something, so you can ask me now.
What
did I want you to ask me?
I know,
about?
I wrote it down so I remembered to have exactly ask. You told me to ask you about Tampa.
The Tampa Bay Rays. So, you talk the talk, you walk the walk. A lot of people have told us And we've heard it for years. I got friends who live in Sacramento or in the Sacramento area, and everybody has always said, look how many terrific players have come out of Sacramento. Look how many kids play in Sacramento. If you remember back, Sac City, we call it community college now, but Sac City has been a dominant program for all those years, so many great players. Sacramento is a hotbed for baseball. And people would say, well, I'll believe it when I see it. Right? That's always, I'll believe it when I see it. And then when the A's, we announced that we were going up there, are people really going to be that jacked up for it? And then once we sold out every game, people went, it's just a minor league stadium. Is that big of a deal? Yeah, it is. Because when you look at the prices, yeah, it is a big deal. So a salute to you, Sacramento. You talk the talk and you walk the walk. People are fired up. They can't wait. I was on a business call today with someone who runs a very important big business in Sacramento, and he told me, and hopefully this will be the sponsor of the Marcotte Show that you hear exclusively here on A's Cast Live. He told me as a big businessman in the Sacramento area that, oh yeah, we're all juiced. Flip side, I asked you to ask me about Tampa. The Tampa Bay Rays, if you do not know, do not play in Tampa Bay. They play in St. Petersburg. And unfortunately, a hurricane hit St. Petersburg and ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field. So the Rays cannot play there. So the Rays had to figure out, and there's been rumors, well, we could play part of our year. Before even all this, there was the Rays said, we can play part of our year in Montreal, and but Major League Baseball went, no. But now the Rays, it costs a lot of money to put that roof back on. The city doesn't know what they're going to do. Hopefully they're going to have to put a roof back on there. But it's not anytime soon, so the Rays got to find a place to play. And if there is ever a time where I'm going to say something nice about the Yankees, it's going to be right now. The New York Yankees actually stepped up. The New York Yankees, because these are 30 businesses that are all in this thing together. And in the end, teams may not like each other, but all these businesses, they're in this thing together. And the Yankees, without being a pain in the you-know-what, the Yankees just stepped up and said, yeah, you can play at our place. George Steinbrenner Field. It's about 11,000 seats. It's in Tampa. So I was like, because over the years, we know what being a two-team market's like. We know how that other team has acted over the years. We know exactly what they're all about. And now the Yankees, they could have played hardball. They could have done it. The Yankees went, you need help. We're here for you. The commissioner said, hey, listen, the Yankees stepped up quick and to help the Rays. It was actually a really cool gesture how the Yankees made this thing pretty seamless in a time of crisis in that area. I can tell you, that wouldn't have happened where we were. That's not how that team rolls. But anyway. So Tampa has always said the major problem with their attendance has always been that St. Petersburg is hard to get to. The traffic over the bridge from Tampa to St. Petersburg. And of course, St. Petersburg is a smaller town. It's, a lot of retirees. Every excuse in the book why they don't draw, and Tampa has done very well. They have been a very competitive. They've been to a World Series. They've had some fantastic teams. A little engine that could, kind of like the the East Coast version of the A's. Well, now they're going to play in Tampa. So everybody's always said, if you put the team in Tampa, they're going to draw. They'll draw.
From the stretch, Marinaccio goes, and Hernandez lines.
I don't know why that happened.
So they've always said, put the team in Tampa, and they draw. You need to put the stadium in Tampa. I heard this same exact thing from Steve Vucinich, A's Hall of Famer. We were talking about it on Sunday down in Arizona. And he was like, if they put it in Tampa. So that's all I've ever heard. Well, guess what? Here's the salute to Sacramento. Sacramento, A's show up. What did you do immediately? You talked the talk. You walked the walk. You bought the tickets. You sold it out. Our season's sold out. Like, Sacramento has proven, hey, Major League Baseball, add 10 more thousand seats. We'll sell that out too. Like, you add 15. Like, there is such a demand for tickets right now in Sacramento. There is a hunger. They can't wait for these first games. Here comes the Cubs. Here comes the Padres. And then here comes Juan Soto and the Mets. They've been dying for baseball. I had a conversation about it today with a big business owner in Sacramento. They cannot wait. Well, we've heard all this time for Tampa. By the way, I checked the website because Mr. can't hit home plate on the first pitch, road trip Mike. They're going to be going to Tampa. He tipped me off to this. You can buy seats for any game you want. They're struggling to sell seats in Tampa. They've already offered everything to their season ticket holders. You go down the line of all the different levels of people. You want Yankees? You want Yankee tickets? I can get them for you right now. Yankee tickets at George Steinbrenner Field. Remember, Tampa, not only is it the spring training home for the Yankees, but that's where their main offices are. Yes, we like to think that the Yankees are all from the Bronx, but everybody who works for the Yankees, they all live in Tampa. That's their home base. Like, all of them. You name it, they all have compounds, and because there's no state taxes, it's warm weather, you get out of the Northeast, but all their stuff, like when Yankee players get hurt, they go down to Tampa. Tampa is that's their complex. That's their deal. They have owned Tampa for a long, long time. George Steinbrenner lived there. The Steinbrenner clan all lives down there. Remember Derek Jeter and all the big Yankees had places there. Tampa's their deal. Well, you can get tickets right now in August for Rays Tampa. So Tampa is showing that, okay, you got the baseball team. Why can't you sell tickets? If you guys always said that the team needs to be in Tampa, and if you did that, everything would be fine, why can't? I mean, I'm looking right here behind home plate for opening day. There's all kinds of tickets available. Opening day. Let alone I can go look when the Yankees are. Oh, how about the Dodgers? Look at this right behind home plate. Look at all the. I can't turn my computer around, but you'd see there's tickets available for the Dodgers. This is Shohei Ohtani. This is Mookie Betts. This is Freddie Freeman. This is the best show on grass that the Major League Baseball has rolled out since the late 90s Yankees. That was a rock star team. The next rock star team would be the late 80s, early 90s A's that had all the great players. I mean, you only have so many rock star baseball teams. Right now, no one's bigger than the Dodgers. They've got stars. They've won the World Series. They're the evil empire now. You either love them or you hate them. And that's great for baseball because you want a super team because super teams spark emotion. Rays, I can go see the Dodgers. If you and I wanted to hop on a bird, Friday, August 1st, I could buy us, looking here, like right now, it gets us 2 seats. Row DD, section 112, seats 3 and 4, literally right behind home plate. So when people say that narrative, you hear us talk about this a lot, that narrative of, oh, well, it's just a AAA ballpark, that's not that big of a deal. Well, it is a big deal that we sold out in Sacramento because if you look at our ticket prices, they've been vaulted way up, and Sacramento said, yes, I am in. Sacramento wanted it, Sacramento got it, and they have talked the talk and walked the walk. Tampa, if you're Major League Baseball and you've got an 11,000, and it's, I mean, we've seen it on, for God's sakes, MLB Network shows just about all the Yankees games every single day on spring training. It looks like a killer stadium. It's 11,000, smaller than Rayleigh Field.
Sutter Health.
Was it used to be Rayleigh?
Used to be Rayleigh, yes.
I'm old school Sacramento. I call it Rayleigh. It's smaller, and they can't sell out any of their games. Baseball's got a problem because we keep talking about, oh, man, we're going to add 2 teams and go to 32. And is it Nashville? Is it Salt Lake City? Is it Carolina? Is it Montreal? Is it Portland? Oh, we should use Vegas. Vegas should be where you put the new team. Until you figure out what you're going to do with the Rays, expansion is off the table. We have heard nothing about expansion. And it's past 2030 now. And we talked to Dave Stewart while we were down at spring training. Dave Stewart was a part of the Nashville group. He's very versed, has done nothing but talk to the commissioner about this. Dave Stewart's now trying to buy another franchise because he knows this isn't happening anytime soon. So all the people who thought, oh, you just put a team in Vegas. Vegas doesn't want to wait. Vegas doesn't want to pay the $2 billion it takes just to get in, because you're going to have to pay before you have a stadium, before you have an employee, a player, a manager, a front. You got to hand baseball probably $2 billion or more for an expansion team. Then you throw in a stadium, almost another $2 billion. You're going to be $4 billion into it, and you haven't even bought a player yet. That's why people are like, I'd rather get a team. Like, they can say whatever they want. You're crazy. People who are in business understand it's a lot better to get a team than try for expansion, because expansion, first of all, isn't happening for years, and the cost is going to be crazy. And baseball is going to have to figure out, what do you do with the Rays? I mean, if you can't sell out 11,000 seats in your backyard in Tampa, where everybody said it would be successful, and the St. Petersburg City Council, and whether they're ever going to get this thing done or not, I mean, at some point, you're going to have to move the Rays. I hate to say it, but you're going to have to move the Rays. And that now puts expansion even way further down the road.
Yeah, because they talked to baseball, Manfred in the commissioner's office, and baseball said they for a while wanted to figure out the athletics and the Rays situation before they even started looking at expansion. And now with Tampa's unfortunate circumstances with the hurricane and playing in Tampa Bay, and I don't know. I don't pay attention to the attendance at Buccaneers games, but I'm pretty sure the Buccaneers probably sell out their football games. So the idea that they can't get people to come to see the Dodgers and Yankees, I mean, you're looking at the two premier franchises in Major League Baseball. That's a very big red flag, as the kids say.
I believe the Lightning do well, too.
They do. Well, they did win back-to-back Stanley Cups recently, too, so that helps. But, yeah, they do really well attendance-wise, and they have a good team.
So all the excuses all these years, there's no excuses now. You guys said to put the team in Tampa, and they should be successful. And what we're seeing, that is not the case. So salute to you, Sacramento, because they've talked the talk and haven't walked the walk in Florida. Sacramento, you talked the talk, you walked the walk, you sold this thing out, and you showed, put more seats in. We'll buy them. You know, whatever the cost, put more seats in, we'll buy that. You want baseball. You're showing baseball. You want baseball. You're showing what you are as a market. I mean, the Kings, I believe, have the fourth highest tickets, costly tickets in the NBA. I mean, you're proven with Golden One and the Kings. You're now proven with the Athletics. You're showing people a lot, Sacramento. So that's a salute to you. If people doubted it, they were wrong. Do we have time for Brady Basso?
Yeah, he's only 6 minutes. We got time.
All right, here is Brady Basso, the left-hander. Another guy is going to play a part in the 2025 season for the Athletics. I mean, boy, he can spin that curveball. He's got terrific talent. Here is the lefty.
So joins us here on A's Cast Live, starting pitcher for the Athletics, but he can do a lot more than just start. You can just give the club a lot of innings and a lot of good appearances. And to me, that's like the big thing for you last year is you came up and you proved I can pitch here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did that mean to you?
Man, it was awesome to get those opportunities. You know, early on, I got to come in out of the bullpen, make a few appearances, and then stretch in AAA where I was figuring it out. You know, it's a hard league. But kind of got my feet under me, and then I was given the opportunity to start at the big league level, and I think I showed myself that, like, you know, I can do it there. And this offseason, went home, worked on some things, and I think we're ready to go.
So much is about confidence. At what point last year when you were up here did you say, my stuff can play here, I can be successful? When was that moment?
Yeah, I think, you know, the first outing went really well whenever, like in Atlanta, you know, pitching to guys like Ozuna, Olsen, it was like, okay, you know, I can get those guys out. And, you know, they'll still get you, but seeing that was huge for me. And then to make a start and see that, you know, I can go out there inning after inning and, you know, put the ball in play, let the guys make plays. Like, you know, you got all these awesome defenders out there. So you make a mistake and guys are there to take care of you, and then you make some pitches and you get some outs. And I think after that first outing in Detroit, it was like, okay, like I think we can do this, you know. And the guys were super complimentary. Kotze and the coaching staff were super complimentary. So it was, I think that for me was the turning point, and then just going there and finishing the season strong.
And we talk so much about the best ability is availability. You're, you know, kind of a workhorse, right? You look at your year last year and you start talking about making every start, whether you're talking about AA and AAA, and then what you did coming up here. How much you pride yourself on that?
Yeah, that was awesome. You know, I going 21, 22, 23, tough few years for me with surgery, and then, you know, half a year in 23. I think last year was huge just because whatever I was asked to do, I felt like I was able to go out there and do it, whether it was, you know, a relief appearance or a start. And, you know, you get your bumps and everything like that, but I think that was what was so big about last year is working through that and going and trying to answer the bell every time. And I think that was huge for me to be able to prove myself like, hey, you know, I'm healthy, I'm good to go, and I can do whatever they need me to do.
Yeah, as a professional athlete, you know, when you're in that period where you're just rehabbing and you're trying to be healthy versus when all of a sudden you know you're healthy, you can let it go and be you again, it's got to be so refreshing.
Yeah, it's there's a big mental side to that where you're out there and, you know, you have that doubt where it's like anything can happen. And there comes a point for everybody, I think, at different times where you come out of the game and you know, like, I'm good to go, I'm healthy. And last year, I think, was that for me. Just knowing that, you know, you're going to have your aches and your pains like everybody does, but we can work through that and, you know, we're good to go.
So when you say you were working on stuff, certain people want to just refine stuff. Some people want to develop new pitches, new weapons. What did you do this offseason?
You know, we went to the drawing board and kind of mixed a few things up. Made my changeup's a lot better now, so it's more of a weapon. And then just working on refining my mechanics and repeating it. And so I think I'm in a good spot. Better fastball, better changeup, and I think it's going to help having all the different weapons now that I can throw in any count and hopefully get some more swings and misses.
Well, we love the hook.
Yeah, me
we
too.
love the hook.
Yeah.
The lefty hook,
Yeah.
like that. I mean, just when you have that pitch, it's such a weapon because to me, when I watched you, I mean, I haven't seen a ton, but what I've watched, I'm like, I feel like you can throw it for a strike, you can throw it for a strikeout pitch. It's the ultimate confidence. You can throw it in any count.
Yes, yeah, and that's what's exciting. Like the growing process after getting drafted and making sure they harped on it. You know, like throw it for a strike and then throw it for a swing and miss, and being able to do that helps so much. I think I threw some in 3-2 counts last year, and being able to do that, it's like a get out of jail card, you know. So
it's like having that club in your bag in golf. Like I can hit this 7-iron at any time.
Right.
It's like a 7-iron. I can hit this at any time, any lie, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's huge for you,
It
right?
is. Yes, it's big. It's a huge reason for success, I think, for me. And like I get a ton of ground balls with that pitch too, even if I don't get swing and miss. And like I was saying, like we've got a full team of guys back there ready to make the play, and so throwing that, getting a ground ball, getting out of an inning that's exactly what you want.
How important is it as a left-hander? You see, like we talk about your change, that's going to be something that goes away from right-handed hitters. But how important is it to have pitches that you can still go in on righties and still go in on lefties?
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's big. One of the things, like pitching, a lot of guys like me, I'm a kind of up and down kind of guy, but having the in and out is huge because, you know, if I want to go away on a righty, I need to make sure I can get in on him to open that up. And same with a lefty, get in on him so I can go away. And that's with the fastball, and then with the curveball or cutter slider, you get in on the righty and then away with the changeup, and same thing flipped for a lefty. I think it's huge to open up that other side of the plate and get them so they're not leaning or anything like that.
Well, the number one thing what you did last year is you put yourself in the conversation for right now, this season. You proved that you can pitch at this level. You proved that you can get outs, and as we all know, you're going to need a lot of pitching during the year, so you are definitely going to help this team in 2025. We look forward to seeing you in Sacramento. We look forward to seeing some success.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Brady Basso right here on A's Cast Live.
You know, another thing to talk about that the Athletics have, and I'm not scouring the other 29 teams for this, but they have a lot of guys, and it's really important in modern day baseball. And this wasn't the norm years ago, was you got to have guys that hey, can you pitch, start, and can you come out of the pen? Now, normally you'd say, well, yeah, why wouldn't you be able to? Well, I'm just going to tell you, it's not the same. There is a whole different mental approach to a starting pitcher versus a guy coming out of the bullpen. I don't think I really need to explain that, but just when you know it's your day and you prepare and everything you do for the days leading up to that, when you throw your bullpen, how you go about your business, the night before, what your preparation is. Some guys are superstitious. Get your sleep, do all of that. And then when you wake up, that day is your day. You're the starting pitcher. When you get to the ballpark, when you go out to warm up, whatever your rituals are. If you're Daniel Mingden, you remember Daniel Mingden? The guy'd come out 2 hours early. It was crazy. But, some guys like to run foul poles, right? Pole to pole on the warning track. Some guys like to play severe long toss. Some guys will toss a football around. However you start to warm up, you have a ritual. When you're in the bullpen, it's you show up and phone call comes down, get the guy ready. You got to heat up 8 pitches and let's go. It's a completely different deal. The A's have quite a few guys that have the ability to do both. Mitch Spence did that last year. Basso is a guy that has done that. Like all these guys. Hogan Harris did that. They're all being asked to hey, pitch. When we call upon you, as we have kind of morphed more into a positionless pitching staff, I hope to God that never fully happens. But, yeah, you've got to be ready to go. Hey, today I might need you to close this thing out. You need to get the last 2 innings. Okay, I got you, boss. You need to be middle relief. You need to start today. You all need to be ready to take the ball and get outs, no matter what the situation is. And luckily, the A's have found those guys. All right, coming up next, a prominent analyst has given love to the A's because he's just looking at the baseball. He's not looking at the politics. He's not looking at the move. He's just looking at baseball. And this guy knows his stuff. That and Brent Rooker next, right here on A's Cast Live.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine of your family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
A's right fielder Lawrence Butler joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live to talk about him being a symbol of the organization.
I mean, it means a lot because it just shows me how much, they value. And, I love the A's. I love the organization from the grounds crew to the trainers. I mean, I just love everything about it. I bleed green and gold. And, for them to just acknowledge me as that and everybody just to keep telling me, keep going, and all the coaches coming back from the minor leagues, I'm seeing them and stuff like that. It means a lot because, shows the hard work that I put in and they put in, with me. So, it means a lot to me.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's lefty J.P. Sears joined Chris Townsend on A's Cast Live in Mesa to discuss his ability to take the ball every 5 days.
I think that's one of the main things you try and do as a starting pitcher is your availability. And it kind of comes with, having a good routine and, sticking to routine and kind of learning, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. So, I've been proud of being able to do that the past couple of years and looking to do that again this year. But, obviously there's always things we want to get better at and, ways I feel like I can help this team out a lot more than I have in the past. And so, I've done a pretty good job, I feel like, of, getting a lot of quantity, a lot of a lot of innings the last couple of years, but just want to sharpen up those outings that, you're talking about. The rough ones are the ones that kind of can go either way. Those are really the big season definers there and team definers.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, top of the hour, we have Athletics and Reds from Mesa, Arizona, right here on A's Cast. And, of course, Talk 650 KSTE in Sacramento. I want to give you this Reds note. A's are playing the Reds. Reds last year finished 77-85. Kind of disappointing. We had the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, one of the terrific pitchers, another Mississippi State guy, but was a terrific closer back in his day. A lot of you remember him as a San Francisco Giant or a Cincinnati Red, former All-Star, turned great broadcaster. Brantley was disappointed in the ball club last year when we talked to the Cowboy. And there are a couple things that you just love when everybody like Ellie De La Cruz, he's so amazing. And he is, like, as an athlete, he is crazy. Like, he eats up ground. Like, I mean, just watching it, how fast he can go to take 90 feet, to take 180 feet. I mean, Ellie De La Cruz is something special. He is a gifted human being. So when you watch the Cincinnati Reds, you have no idea what this guy could do. A triple seems like it's no big deal. Stealing home, second to first, throwing the ball 100-something miles an hour from shortstop, power. I mean, this guy is a freak. He is a freak. But he's not refined. Ellie De La Cruz committed a MLB high 29 errors. Too much where we are in sports now is we love fantasy. You've got like 8 fantasy football teams, Cody, going every single year. You guys who have been conditioned to fantasy sports, you start viewing sports as fantasy. Who's got the best skilled guys? And that's who should win. Well, you got to play the game. You got to do the little things right. It's a sport. And if you don't do them right every single day, you're going to be in trouble. Ellie De La Cruz is an absolute fantasy, stolen bases, home runs. He's a fantasy dream. He does everything, right?
Yeah, some people think he could be a 40-80 guy. Our good friend Paul Hembo from ESPN thinks he could be a 40-80 guy this year. And
so when I say that's great, but then he gives it all back defensively, because those 29 errors, those are just the errors like we saw with Marcus Semien back in the day. They're documented screw-ups. But there's a lot more that go with that are not accredited to you, right? That's just the 29 people had to go, the official score E6. But there's a lot more bad than that. Like Marcus led the league. It was 30-something, 33, 34. What did Marcus lead the league? 36, maybe.
Let's see. Hold on. Marcus Semien.
That's batting. You got to go to defense. He had 30-something errors.
Postseason appearance. He had 35 errors in 2015.
35 errors. Now, let me tell you something. Matt Olson saved him on 10 more, at least, scooping it, because Matt Olson was phenomenal with the scoop. Marcus could have committed close to 50 errors. He threw so many balls in the dirt. There were so many. So, just the point. And you wonder why teams end up struggling. The Reds committed 96 errors last year, third most. And it's something the A's have to get better in. Folks, if you give away outs, you will not be a good team. You can't give away outs. You just can't. You got to be solid defensively. It's not sexy to talk about. It's not fun to talk about. It's not the fantasy numbers everybody likes. But you got to play defense. And Cincinnati doesn't play defense. But that's not the note that I wanted to bring to you before we play you Brent Rooker. And the audio that we're going to do from a prominent analyst talking about the A's. Did you know, can't make this up, the 3, 4, 5 hitters for Cincinnati. So these are your power guys playing in a bandbox. This is like Coors Field without the altitude playing in Cincinnati. It's the Great American Small Park, right? Everybody knows it was poorly built from a standpoint of launching pad. They did themselves no help because, I mean, pitching there is a joke. Whenever you make a small ballpark, it's just, I don't know if they didn't have the space. I don't know, but it is the Great American Small Ballpark, the Great American Launching Pad. There's all kinds of nicknames for Cincinnati. So if we know that, if it's a highly offensive ballpark, the Reds 3, 4, and 5 hitters last year combined to hit 227, 56 home runs, and an OPS of 670, the lowest in the National League. That's your 3, 4, 5 hitters. Brent Rooker was basically better himself than the Reds 3, 4, 5 hitters total.
I'm just gonna pull up a random Reds game from last year and see who the hell their 3, 4, and 5 hitters were.
Is that astounding in that ballpark?
Yes, it is trouble. It's worrisome is the word you're looking for.
I mean, I couldn't believe that. I don't even know what ballpark I would say that, well, it's a big ballpark. I mean, to hit 227, 56 home runs, of all the collective humans who hit 3, 4, 5, that's all you mustered was 56 home runs. That should have been at home. Forget for the season. They should have hit that at home.
So I just picked up a random game in end of July against the Cubs when the Reds were at home and that they won. Their 3-hitter was Spencer Steer, who ended up hitting 237.
He had all these guys, Friedel and all these guys that they said were going to be terrific. They all had down.
Jamer Candelario was hitting cleanup. He went 1 for 4 in this game. And then Tyler Stevenson.
He had a down year too.
Yeah, and Tyler Stevenson, their catcher, was hitting 5th. He was 1 for 3, and he was hitting 236 at the point.
I mean, it goes back to these guys I want to talk about hit it hard and hit it in the air. I mean, if you don't hit, if you don't make contact on a consistent basis, that's what goes back to. There is a little bit of a change in our game, kind of back to batting average. Like, you got to hit. You got to hit. If you're so streaky because you're just trying to rely on home runs and walks, you're going to be streaky. And this is a team that's a great example. Like, you didn't hit and you didn't hit home runs. What happens when you don't hit and you don't hit home runs? I mean, it's like you're easy to beat. They were easy to beat last year. That's the bottom line. Your 3, 4, 5 hitters combined for 227, 56 home runs, and a 670 OPS. Wow, especially in a bandbox. Unbelievable. Harold Reynolds. We've had him on this program. A lot of respect for him. MLB Network. Remember him at ESPN. Terrific second baseman with the Seattle Mariners. Years ago, got to see him play the Athletics a lot. Over time, Amelia Schimmel, who is the voice of our stadium, if you don't know, she worked at ESPN. I mean, she worked at MLB Network. She won multiple Emmys. She worked with all of the talent there and knows Harold real well. And she talks about Harold Reynolds is a baseball junkie. Like some of these guys, when you watch MLB Network, the analysts, who knows what they've been doing, but when they show up, they got to study up for their shows. Harold's a guy that's there so much. Harold lives it and breathes it every single day. This is what Harold does. He loves baseball. Absolutely loves baseball. So he's on it, all 30 teams. And we're going to play. Harold Reynolds might be the first of the analysts that comes out and not talking about the politics, not talking about the move, not just talking about the team. Here is Harold Reynolds from MLB Network on the Athletics.
There's been a turning of the guard. The Athletics are locking up their players. And I'm telling you, Robert, this team last year was one of the best teams in baseball. Second they were. Yes, they were. And I've been on this bandwagon of look out for the A's. I think they can win the West. Look, if they keep doing things like this, they're going to be a formidable opponent that they should be, that this organization is championed for so many years. Yeah. And I'm ecstatic.
Harold gets excited. I get excited because Harold is about baseball. That's what he's talking about. Because I can give you all of the, I can go around like right here, the preview magazine. I know if you're listening on A's Cast, and for some of you, it might kind of be confusing. You're like, he says listening on A's Cast, but I can watch A's Cast. Yes, you can watch A's Cast on YouTube. You can watch A's Cast on Twitter at AthleticsCast24. But you can also just listen to A's Cast. And, of course, we're on Talk 650 KSTE in Sacramento. So you may, but I'm holding up one of the baseball magazines. And if you go whatever website you like to get your baseball information, when there's been talk about what the 2025 season is looked at, a lot of people just don't want, they always throw something in about a move, politics, what they don't. It's never just about baseball. That's one thing we have noticed this offseason. Harold Reynolds only cares about baseball. And Harold Reynolds is the first guy to say that I know of that has said they could win the West. Not be competitive. Not going to be better than you think. Not bet the over, whatever it is, 70.5 or whatever. Win the West. Win the division. I don't know. But the next couple of years are going to be very interesting in Sacramento before this team heads to Las Vegas. These kids, this team is growing up. If you've listened to all these interviews or watched these interviews, if you've missed the interviews, go to the A's Athletics. Go to the A's Athletic. Go to the A's YouTube channel. Cody puts all of our interviews on there. They live forever. And you see the confidence that everybody has going into this year. Whether it was Brent Rooker saying, and you're going to hear from Brent in a second here, about, hey, I'm sticking around because I want to be a part of this. Luis Severino, who we played for you yesterday, saying, hey, this reminds me of the team in 18 and 19. Like the new guys coming in going, yeah, we saw this second half how the A's got way better and they played 500 the last, 64 games or whatever it was. Yeah. There's something happening here, and we want to be a part of it. So Harold Reynolds saying that fires me up because I know Harold, he actually, because Amelia has educated us on this, Harold follows all 30 teams. That's why he's doing the morning show in the offseason with Matt Vasgersian. That's why he's always on MLB Tonight. You know, they bring a lot of guys in, a lot of great players, and those guys come in and they give you opinion and everything. We don't know how much those guys watch. I mean, I can just tell you, being in television all these years, working at NBC, some analysts come in and they haven't really been paying attention. You got to get them up to speed. Some analysts watch every game. A lot of them don't because they have lives, right? They played. You're paying them to come in and be a former player and give some opinions, and it's a quick pregame show. But I can tell you, Steve Sachs is going to be ready to rock. My boy Saxy. Steve Sachs will be joining me on NBC for A's Cast on NBC, which will be our pre- and post-game show. Shooty Babbitt, obviously, will be joining us also. Shooty is a scout. I mean, he gets paid. This is his job, right? So Shooty knows all. But Steve Sachs is fired up. I guarantee you Sachs will watch every single game. Now, that's Harold Reynolds. That's the guy I want to hear from. I don't want to hear from the guy who's playing golf all the time or he's doing whatever. He's raising kids. He's doing and then all of a sudden he shows up to the studio and says, all right, what are we talking about today? I want the guy that this is his life, and that's Harold Reynolds. So if Harold Reynolds is saying this, I'm like, you know what, right on. I like seeing that. It's a very good perspective of somebody who just cares about the sport. Obviously, Harold played his career in the American League West, knows a lot about the franchise. So I was glad to hear that.
Yeah, same. And that came, that was on Hot Stove with Robert Flores when he said that. And there was one other note about, there was an article on MLB.com before we get to Brent Rooker. MLB.com talked about teams that, that didn't make the playoffs last year that have a good chance of making the playoffs this year. And our good friend Mike Petriello of MLB.com had the A's in there, like 7th. And he had a note in there that I disagreed with.
Oh, whoa. This isn't Hot Take Tuesday.
He said the A's can win 15 more games than they did last year and still not reach 500. Well, Mike, last time I checked my math, if we won 15 more games from 69, that'd be 84 wins, which would put us over 500. I'm not a math major from my university, but I'm just saying 84 wins is a winning record in Major League Baseball.
So what you're saying is you're not a math guy, but his math does not add up.
Yeah, it's like that legendary Aaron Boone.
Yes. What was that?
Someone said something about
your math is wrong.
Your math is wrong. There's only 30 ballparks or something like that.
Yeah.
The math doesn't add
Yeah,
up.
there was percentages,
Yeah.
and he goes, "There's only 30 ballparks."
Yeah.
The USC guy was correcting somebody. Hey, I say it all the time. It's a game of math, right? What you put into it is what your numbers and your data is going to be. Whatever data you like to follow, and. Yeah, that's bad math by Mike. You should text him. Go, hey, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but your math doesn't add up.
Yeah,
and then put like a picture of Aaron Boone.
Send him the audio.
Yeah,
no context. Just send him the audio of Aaron Boone.
I mean, there was a lot going on last year. If you're just joining us and you really weren't a part of the 2024 season, it was pretty crazy. And how long is Rooker?
8.5. Real quick, his math is wrong. 99% is impossible. There's only 30 ballparks. It's something that I guess ex-Rangers manager Chris Woodward said, and that's what Aaron Boone came back with.
Yeah. Last year was crazy in the fact that the players lived it. We all lived it. We went through it, survived it. I mean, there could have been more wins there. But yeah, is 500 really a possibility? No doubt. No doubt. I mean, that over of 70.5, I'm not going to tell you what to do because I can't do that. But I think 500, a dramatic improvement from last year, no doubt about it. I mean, you got Severino, you got Springs, you got another. I mean, the pitching, right? The pitching, bullpen, starters. I mean, the offense is going to score runs, but the pitching is going to be far better. Well, why is the offense going to be better? Well, Brent Rooker is going to have another good year. He blossomed last year. The symbol of change at first was Luis Severino signing the big free agent contract. The continued symbol of change, Brent Rooker saying, you know what? I want to be here long term. It was a special night. These guys all went to the Kings game. The Kings people in Sacramento treat him like royalty. And then all of a sudden he found out at the Kings game he was getting this extension and they were getting it done. What a day it was for the Athletics in Sacramento going to the Kings game. But Brent Rooker basically saying, I want to be here. This is where I want to be. These are my brothers. These are my guys. I want to go to battle with them. Here's Brent Rooker from spring training. Today, the symbol of change, that symbol, one of the big reasons why there is change and a belief in what's going on with this organization is the guy who's sitting next to me on the right. You can see it on YouTube and on Twitter. But if you're listening on A's Cast or our news station in Sacramento, Talk 650 KST, Brent Rooker has sat down here on the field with us as we're at Hohokam Park. How are you? It's good to see you. We haven't seen you since the big signing day.
Yeah, good. Doing well. It's good to be back out here. First few days of camp have been awesome. It's always, fun to get back around the guys and get back to work.
What's life like? What's it been like since you signed that contract? Not just from a baseball standpoint, as we saw your beautiful wife and kids there in Sacramento when we had the announcement. What's life been like since then?
Man, it's been pretty normal. It's been good. It's been, a lot of just getting ready for the season. Obviously, we got that done early January, which is about the time that you kind of start planning, getting out here to spring training, finding housing and stuff like that. Getting the family ready to move out here in a little bit. So it's been good. It's been busy like always. Like I said, it's just good to be back.
The old school Memphis Grizzlies corduroy hat.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one.
I just noticed that. I'm like, oh, that is old school.
Yeah,
I like that.
It's good.
I like that. For you, what I like about this camp is like you're coming in and you think of all the different camps you've been in with the different teams and, trying to make clubs and just deciding about your future. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool just coming into this camp that Rook can just be Rook and get ready for a year.
It is. It's a different feeling. It's a feeling that, I haven't had before. It's new for me, and it's one that, my focus is just preparing for my season. It's knowing that what I do works, and it works at a high level. So it's just doing what I need to do to get ready to go back out there and produce again.
And you've earned it.
Yeah, I've gotten better the last 2 years. So my goal is just continue to do that. Make the subtle, small improvements at the margins like I had the last 2 seasons, and just see where that takes me.
All right, so I always like to have like a little theme each day, and today it's going to be about believing. But yesterday was the culture of change. You're a part of that. Obviously, Luis Severino with the huge free agent contract deal to start this whole thing off. Then when you signed the extension, but the Mark Kotze kind of came out of nowhere. I know you guys didn't know about it. John Fisher, the owner, came and talked to you guys and announced it. What did that mean to you after the organization made the commitment to you and Sevy now making a monstrous, it's the largest in baseball years-wise. No one has a contract longer than Mark Kotze now. What did that commitment to the skipper mean to you?
Yeah, we're thrilled. We love Kotz. He's the exact right person to lead us into this next phase in these next few years and take us where we want to go. We think that the confidence put into him by David and the rest of the front office just signifies that we really believe we believe in what we have as far as guys on the field, as well as coaching staff, and as well as the people leading us. And that means a lot that we have from top to bottom, we all share a very similar belief and a similar confidence in the people that we have involved right now, and that they're the right people to do what we're trying to do.
In a very short time, how different is this organization from when you first got here to where we are right now?
Very. Even the feel in spring training is completely different. Where I come in 2 years ago in 2023, and it feels like pretty much every position on the field is kind of up for grabs, and it's just trying to figure out what we have, who can do what. You come in last year to camp, we have a little bit better idea of who our guys are. There's still several spots up for grabs, several competitions going on. And you come in this year, and obviously there's still competition because there's competition in every spring training and every camp. But you've got a really good idea of who our team is, and you know what you have in that locker room, and you know that what we have in the locker room is capable of winning a lot of games because we showed that at the end of last year. So it's exciting. It's a new feeling. It's a good feeling. And I'm looking forward to getting here and playing here in a couple of days.
All right. So we talk about the change and how the organization has changed. It takes me to my other theme. It's believing. I've now pretty much interviewed everybody. When you look at the starting pitchers, the main relievers, and now all the starters, you're the last guy that we're getting here. You can tell the confidence. There is real belief. Every team in baseball right now in spring training, they're going to tell you they believe. It's not all real. The belief here is real. Talk to the fans about that.
It is. It's a very real confidence. It's a very real optimism. It's unique in that it's a confidence that also comes with the knowledge that we haven't proven anything yet, and we know that people on the outside still don't believe in us, but we believe in ourselves and we believe in each other. And we are at a very cool crossroads of being hungry to compete and wanting to compete, and knowing that we can compete while also being confident what the future looks like. So it's a cool feeling inside the clubhouse right now. Guys are working really hard. Guys are communicating well. We're talking. We're trying to help each other get better, and that's a cool place to be.
You had an MVP-like year, and obviously if you're on a team that won a lot more games, it would have been a whole different story in the voting. But you start looking, just go down the line. I don't want to bore people with a ton of numbers, but you had a 927 OPS. OPS plus was 165. Commander, what's 100? What is 100 OPS plus?
League average.
League average. You were 165. You had 39 home runs. You had 112 RBIs. The list goes on and on. And the big thing for me always with you was when you hit 293, it's amazing. When you hit for average, how all the numbers go up. So when you look at your season, you go in the off season, what is it? It was an unbelievable year. How do you improve? What did you change? Did you change anything? How do you get better?
I didn't change anything as far as my preparation went. I went about the same off-season routine as I have, just knowing that what I did last year worked. And so I stuck to it, stuck with the same plan, same routine, same everything. Where I get better is just finding those margins that we've already talked about, a few of them here with Bushy, and how approach-wise I can get better, how consistency-wise I can get a little bit better. and just kind of subtly taking those steps forward, those small steps forward in all the areas of my game that could use improvement. And, if I'm able to just take a few steps forward and get a little bit better, then I'm going to be in a good spot again.
And I think a great thing for you mentally is to be able to play defense again. You had the issue with the arm. You got that taken care of. You were so professional, switching over and DHing every single day and making that happen. But how much are you looking forward to getting back in the outfield?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know wherever we need me, whatever is the best lineup we can put out there, wherever that puts me, I'm happy to do it. I want to go out and I want to win, and I want to win badly. So whatever I need to do, wherever I need to play to make that happen, give us the best chance. I'm happy to do it.
It's a whole different story when you become the leader of the team, isn't it?
It is. It's a different position that I'm in, and it's one that I'm going to embrace. It's one that I enjoy. We have a lot of guys who are younger than me, who are far more talented than me, who I want to help become far better than I am, and that's a role that I'm going to look forward to as well, just trying to help out however I can.
Yeah, it's amazing in a career, and let's just end on this. There's a lot of bumps and bruises and things that you go through. Who would have ever thought that all those things that you went through now all play a huge strength for you, not only in your own success, but how you're going to help all these other players, because since you've been through everything, they can ask you and you truly have an answer to help.
Yep, that's right. There's not a role on a Major League Baseball team that I haven't played at this point. So whatever our roster looks like, wherever each individual guy is in their career and whatever role they play on this team, I've been there and I've experienced it, and I'm going to do my best to help those guys out as much as I can.
Great stuff.
Yes,
Stay
sir.
healthy.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great spring, and we'll see you in Sacramento.
Will do. Appreciate it.
Brent Rooker. How big is that? I've done it all, highs and lows. All-star game to being released, you name it. Anybody can come to me and I can help them. I mean, it's kind of leadership that's in the clubhouse right now. And it's very impressive. And he's a very impressive guy. And I'm so happy for him, his wife, his young family, and the fact that it's just a great match. The A's gambled on him and it worked. And now he's repaying the front office by saying, you know what? I've really blossomed into the player that you thought I was going to be, and let's not fool around. Let's sign a contract. You give him the financial security. It's the right number for him. It's the right number for the club. It's like really a perfect contract, and we will see him in Las Vegas. We'll see him in Sacramento, and we will see him in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it's great because, the last 2 years he's had, 69 home runs in the last 2 years. See what he gets this year. I thought projections of 38, so we'll see if we can get to 38.
All righty, that is going to do it for A's Cast Live, our first week here, spring training action. We want to thank everybody on Talk 650 KSTE. Enjoy today's ball game, and we will see you on Monday. A's Reds next.
The time is now. Pitchers and catchers have officially reported to Arizona. Grab your sunglasses, A's gear, and get ready for some fun in the sun as the Athletics get ready for the 2025 season. Now's the time to make plans to catch us in Mesa, Arizona, and enjoy the sunshine. Family and friends. Grab your tickets early for the best seats at the lowest prices as your green and gold take on the Giants, Padres, Dodgers, Angels, and more at Hohokam Stadium. Don't wait. Get your tickets at athletics.com/spring. That's athletics.com/spring.
This has been a presentation of The Athletic.